What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast.
If you want to be successful, look inside.
We don't like sitting in the discomfort.
Then all of a sudden that day came when I got $20 and 2 free drinks to do a show, and I was like, oh shit, here we go, baby. You know?
Thank God she hasn't caught a chicken yet, because she'll tear his head off.
Don't be soft.
That patience is key.
If all my friends are winning, then it's going to make me want to win more.
What is up? Back with another episode today. We have a very special guest. First time having a Q's connection inside the studio today. We have the host of the bus driver experience. Bad bus driver, Jesus. Bad bunny experience. No. Bad bus driver experience. The owner of Bus Driver Productions, Brandon Reese.
Woo!
How you doing, brother?
Big
What's
time.
up, man?
I know. We've been talking about this for a long time now.
Well, first of all, I find it funny that Josh is like the first Q's experience. I'm like, bro, we were just talking about how, all these Q's
in the studio.
Oh, okay.
In the studio. Plenty of them on the pod, but this time, first time in the studio. So we're glad to have you here, man. You're obviously a podcast pro. You've been in the industry for a long time, so grateful to have you here and be able to talk shop.
Dude, I'm excited to be here. We were talking in the hallways. I remember he reached out to me and was like, I'm looking to start a show. I'm looking to get this going. And, most people don't execute on anything they say they're going to do or want to do. So kudos to you guys. 165 episodes.
So what's the feedback? We want to hear the feedback. We'll take criticism too.
No general criticism at all. It really comes down to, like, I'll tell any client when they're doing stuff like this, like, what do you guys want? What do you want from this? And it sounds like you guys love the networking, you love the connections, you love facilitating the people you get to meet, and the insight, with people we have conversations with that you probably wouldn't have a conversation with if you walked across the street and you had that. So you guys are getting that. So, it's never really about what anybody else wants to think about what you're going to do. And that's why it's so hard, because we're mimicking species. We like to see what other people do, what's right and what's wrong. And when you're doing something like you guys are doing, you guys are having fun doing it, you're successful at what you're doing it, that's it.
Appreciate well, and it's about and we were talking about this, like, anything that's content oriented, you have to be so patient with it, because you always set these real high expectations of how things are going to be initially. And, a lot of the times you overset those expectations and then you fall short and you're like, oh, fuck, this isn't what I need to be doing. Right. And maybe you just didn't wait long enough, right? Maybe you just didn't allow yourself to continue to grow for a long enough period of time to be able to see the results that you expected early on.
That, and again, people just aren't honest with what they want. And they have a really hard time expressing what they want to get, whether that's in their own personal relationships or, like you said, in business and in life. They don't say, like, hey, I'm just doing this. Okay, I'm doing that. I should be happy with that. But if they're missing something, maybe they're not even there and ready to be making their content of what the world wants to see, of what they're doing or how they're doing it. So, again, people need to stick with it. They need to figure that out, and they got to be honest with themselves in order to get to that growth spot.
That is so true, and also I think people, and even ourselves, we've seen it. You sometimes get too wrapped around your own head, and you start questioning this and you start questioning that, and do I really want this, and how long am I going to stick through this, and when is it going to pay off, and I think sometimes it's just you have to sometimes remove that from your head and just say, I'm going to roll with this for quite a while.
Yeah, I literally took it out right here. Like, get a little notebook, write your stuff down. How long you want it to take for you to get to this point or that point? Because if you don't, you're not reminded every day. Even like those, I'm like a soccer mom. I have that like collage vision board in the room. You clip out different magazines of places you want to visit this year, those financial goals you want to hit. Like, just seeing those little subliminal things, and it sounds so ditzy and dumb, but like, it does work. Like, stimulating your brain to be like, that's where I need to get to. That's where I want to go. I got to make this much money. Like, and then really focusing on the things that make you happy and healthy first.
So now that you took out the notebook, I'm curious, what are some of the things you have in that notebook right now?
All right. Well, I've only been doing, this one's fresh. So it's like a few days. So it's got a
nothing better than a fresh notebook.
One of them is go to Club Space while I'm here in Miami.
Well, that's obvious. No, you got to go to church when you're in Miami. You guys are in South Florida. Whether you like electronic music or not, go to Club Space.
It's an experience for sure.
It's church. All right? It's open Sunday mornings. Instead of going to the other church, go to Club Space.
Go and get blessed some other way.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a certainly an experience, no doubt about that.
Yeah, so here, I mean, just some small tasks of things I need to do, and just getting those daily reminders instead of doing it through a phone or being on social media. Having it written down it's the 1.0 version of what your phone allows you to do.
sure.
But any way to disconnect you from the outside world, to disconnect you from other opinions or other things other people are doing, which is social media, is only better for you. Yeah.
So when you write these notes down, are you more like these top 3 things, or I'm just gonna list all the tasks out, I'm just gonna get after it? Like, how do you prioritize your task and your notes when you write them down?
Well, that's the problem too, because everybody's just like, oh, if I just write all these things down and I get them done, there still has to be an intention behind what you got to do. So, there's personal ones on there. Make sure I go sit down for 30 minutes, whether that's meditating or just not having any kind of stimulation go on besides what's happening in life. Going to the gym. I've been probably my worst phase of exercising in my life. Just haven't touched a weight like in 2 months. And that's a whole separate thing of like trying not to break down of when you were a professional athlete, you just trained every day. Why you go and train, why you still go and train. So trying to find that new phase of falling in love with exercising, working out. And, I'll go to the gym still and I'll train like such an asshole, like 2-3 hours trying to compete against everybody in the room. But it's just like, you're retired. There's nothing else for you to do. So trying to get a more healthy balance with those things. So stuff like that, trying to put like relatable goals of getting 4 8x8 series with 30 minutes rest time in the gym, but just being there for 60 minutes of straight exercise. Boom. Simple, done.
Just that.
And getting the hell out of there after that, because either I got it done or I didn't, but also being okay with that.
Being intentional too, right? Like, you got to be intentional with the stuff you're doing. Like, I say it all the time. We talk about it all the time. Like, I think sometimes it's so easy where it's like you're doing you're working out, and then at the same time you're trying to get work done. It's like, no, work out. Like, work out. That's the work you got to get done right now. It's just work out. And then whatever you have scheduled after, attack it. I think sometimes we try to do too much, or we try to multitask with too many things at the same time.
Absolutely.
And we end up frying ourselves, right? Like, it's like I was saying, like, I remember somebody was the other day was like, oh, I'm a great multitasker. I'm like, I don't want to be a great multitasker.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I'll make fun of people for this one because I can say I was that person too. Because that's the society we live in. Everybody's trying to compete and say they can do so much amount of work and take on so many jobs. And the thing we can make fun of this because you guys probably did this too. I've done this before too. Being that guy like, oh, I'm in the coffee shop today getting my work done, posting a story. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Who am I proving to get work done? Like, no one's watching. There's a big brother, but like, we're all seeing like, hey, if I'm not working hard, if I'm going out enjoying vacation, then someone's going to think I'm not doing this, or I'm scamming people and not doing that. Right. It's like, no, just enjoy life. Cut the shit. So having that intention is so important because, we get so caught up with that, and we think that is the basis of how we add value to the world. And it's like there's no competition on value. You either are adding it in the thing you want to do with the intention you want to be, or that's it.
Well, and I think too, like a lot of people feel comfortable being intent with the things that they're good at, right? But when it's time to make transitions in life, like you mentioned, right? For those who are listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, you were a basketball player at Syracuse, and you played professionally abroad. And now that part of your life's over, right? And you're trying to find a way to transition into podcasting and the production side of things, and for your personal life, like, how do I stay motivated in the gym without having that external factor there? Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to people going through those transitions so that they can continue to be intentional with their actions, right, as they kind of go through these periods of time where, there's more uncertainty than before, where you were like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing because the goal is very clear. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to get better at basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because I'm in the unhealthy spot with it. Like, where I got my business to, a 5-figure monthly income, where it's just like, oh man, I'm making all this money, but like, I'm so burned out from work. And then, other things in life happen, people in your family pass, this and that happens. And, if you don't have a healthy balance there in that transition, even though, it took me 3 years, and I hate, again, putting that time frame on it. It's going to take you maybe sometimes that long to really build your skill and craft. And when I did this stuff and I transitioned out of basketball, or any professionalism that you want to transition from it, you're going to go from being the top 1% of what you are and how you do it. And you're going to drop to the bottom. You're going to be at zero. It's so good for your ego, but also, you know, you have to be patient. You have to realize that I just went down to zero and I need to build up and I need to learn the new skills and crafts. So for me, I learned the audio engineering. I got my interface. I got my microphones, started connecting with people. But I think the most important thing for people who are scared with that thing is look for community, because it's the biggest thing that's missing in our world, in our life today. And if you can connect with other people who are doing stuff like you, whether they want to work with you, whether you can learn something from them, there's, you know, now that everything's really opening up again, so many goddamn conferences and meetups and things you can learn, whether it's for podcasting, whether it's how to work a camera, whether it's you want to be a photographer. There's so many cool things where it's just like, oh, we're going to walk around with other people. One person's a professional who, you know, gets paid work, and we're going to follow around and take photos of things and grade each other's work. Like, you have literally this little ecosystem of feedback in person. So there are so many cool things. People just need to exercise and use the internet to their benefit and skill.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And then I think this at the same time, like, people got to just start with that one thing that sticks out to them the most, that they're like, okay, I got to take that one thing I learned or one thing I heard from so-and-so and just stick to that. Where we say it all the time, like, there's just so much information that people just get on information overload as well, and they don't do anything with it. Instead of just grabbing that one nugget and doing something with that one nugget, and just applying that one nugget.
I mean, it's a failure of our systems. You know, they're all trying to bombard us and make us think that things are either really good or really bad, that it's not just okay to be you or to do you. So, you know, it's tough for people. You know, our biology is not meant to be able, like you said, to be bombarded with that much stimulation to say like, oh, I can do a million things. Like, again, it goes back to the thing. We think we're in this competition against the rest of the world, but also ourselves, and no one's going to win. So until we can be like honest with that and just say like, hey, today I want to get this done. I want to make sure I get this. And even if I don't, hey, how tomorrow can I go and get that? Like, we don't need to go 1,000,000 miles per hour because we can't digest 100 miles per hour still.
So true. So true. And I think that's the biggest thing is that, you know, doesn't mean that fast has its purpose, but, you know, sometimes slowing things down will make you realize some of the holes and the weaknesses we have to take care of so that we can move a little bit faster every single time and just get better and get better and get better, and then realize, okay, is this working for me? Is this for me? Am I happy? Am I not happy? You know, because I think sometimes we do tend to just want to go fast through things in life, and then we sometimes miss things along the way, and we're like, shit, like, no, this is not what I really wanted.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't care to say, like, I mean, this didn't just happen. You had to put all this work in to get these podcasts for you guys to come down to some kind of agreement of what you want to talk about on a show. Like, so again, most people don't get the opportunity to go through those long things. They either aren't making enough money from their job. They can't even afford 80% of people or 70% with minimum wage can't afford a 2-bedroom house to rent or live in. So, you know, people are just competing to try and stay alive. You know, and sometimes we all get sucked up in this bubble to say, like, other people are struggling? Like, oh, no, come on, that can't be true. So, you know, affording more opportunity to people and for people to see that, but if they just had a community for things for like such as that to happen, whether that's with a charity or just people giving your time, I think that's the coolest and best thing. Why you guys have probably been successful, I know for me, is I just always give people the time of day. Whether I want to do something creative, whether it was back in being basketball, someone that would just take me aside to teach me this move as a coach or an older player. And so always just giving that person, whoever asked me something, just I'm going to give you my time, give you my full attention to help you with whatever you want to do.
When you start building that community, because you've mentioned community a few times, which 100%, it's a huge staple when it comes to your life, your business growth. Like, what are some of the things that you say are an important part of building a community, and then most importantly, sustaining a community? Because I think anybody can build one, but I think a lot of people can't sustain one.
Yeah, like you said, because I'm trying to do 1,000 other things. I got to make sure I go do this and that. So, you know, keeping it simple. It's, hey, we're going to show up and play basketball together every Sunday at 11 a.m. Hey, where it's going to branch off from that, who knows? But for now, we're playing basketball. Are we going to have a conversation or a beer or a coffee after to talk about what else is going on in life, you know? So I think just keeping it simple in terms of what you do best and focusing on that. Like you said, whether it's that one thing and then also just giving people what they're missing, which is just someone who is going to care about what they have to say and what they care about what they do. So it's simple because it's just showing that you care, not pretending, you know, but actually caring what someone says about what they do and what they're going to be doing. It's
well, and I think too on the flip side is like finding those people, you know, who are actually seeking the type of advice that you have to give them, and then also want to follow through with it, right? Like, you know, you're saying a lot of older players were there to help you, you know, refine your game, but you were seeking that out. You wanted to also, you know, make yourself better. So, you know, how do I build this community of people who really, you know, are looking to achieve more? Well, you go out and find people who do want to achieve more in the first place, right? And then you can provide your value to them, you know, and then as those people start to see the benefits of the value that you're providing them, then they're going to want more people inside of your community, right? Because they're going to want their friends to win just like they're winning. And then that community can grow from there, you know? And I think too often we try to set these expectations for people who aren't ready to meet them, you know? And when you can actually just go and find the right type of person for your community, or even if you're an outsider looking for a community, it's like, what type of value am I going to be provided, right? Am I ready for that type of value, right? Am I ready to put those actions into my own life and actually make them happen for myself? Or do I have to find somewhere else that might be more beneficial for where I am in life?
And I think also, too, I think that some people are meant to build and lead communities and start them themselves. And I think there's also people that are not meant to necessarily build one, but they're meant to help lead somebody else's community and be a leader within that community. The same way that there's entrepreneurs. And I think it's also understanding, like, who am I? Like, what am I supposed to do? Who am I really am? Like, am I meant to start my own community and then build upon there and find leaders in my community to keep leading this community with me, right? Or am I somebody who needs to join a community and then become a leader within that community and help lead others through that community?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the personal self-reflection people should be doing, whether it's taking a 30-minute break in their day or, you know, doing that with weed. I think with mushrooms, especially seeing all the new studies that are coming out with, you know, the breaking down of what it does for your brain in terms of, like, really creating some new rewiring, especially for depression and whatnot. So, you know, it also just gives you a whole different level of self-reflection that we don't get to do. And you can only do with so many hours of meditation to get to that place where you can actually reflect on what you did today, what you've done, and, like, kind of give yourself that therapy of, like, really, like, rolling back trauma and stuff that's happened in your past. So, you know, I'm not advising people to do that on their own, you know, but it's something to do, again, with a community, with other people, with intimate partners. Like, it's a powerful thing, and something you can make another community with right there. It's all there for people.
Was that something you were able to do during your basketball career, or only after you were done with that?
The community in what sense?
Like, being able to try out, you know, doing weed, mushrooms, all that stuff.
Oh, man, I was going way too crazy with that. Just, you know, I think being young and being at a certain level of physical superiority, you have that, you know, rock star mentality of, I can do everything. Nothing is too much for me. So, you know, there were so many times that just, like, you know.
Especially when you're playing on the #1 basketball team in the country.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So who was the wild Cuse man over here?
Me.
I mean, listen, when you're a basketball player at Cuse, like, I mean, you can do do a whole lot of things that I wasn't able to. I can't
get in trouble for this stuff now, but, like, you know, I'd leave, we'd be stuck at winter break, and we'd be up there for practice all winter long. We're the only people up there for university. Maybe there was one.
Because the football team was trash.
Yeah. Well, maybe they were up there but everybody else student-wise was home or away. So my birthday, like, December 27th, and I was talking to this girl. She's like, hey, I'm going to Afrojack show in New York. And I'm like, okay, can I practice at 5? The show starts at 10. I can make it down there. There's no snowstorm right now. Go to finish practice. Say, guys, I'm going to a party. Anybody want to come? No? All right, I'll be back for practice tomorrow. Get back for practice. And, I'm competing against the top guards in the country, and I can still BS my way through that, outplay them, or get a walk-on to jump in and take on my spot. But, and then we fly to Chicago for a game. You go to the game, you get to score in that game. So it's like good, but it's just like, again, focus on what you're there to do. But I think that I'm not making an excuse for it, that if you just had so much better opportunity for people to be honest in your youth about drugs or partying or drinking, what our society and culture doesn't promote. And again, it's not an excuse. I tried to do everything and thought I could. And then even when I went to go play pro, I'd be, going to play in Israel, and I'm still going to a partier club there, but I'm still playing on the team, and nothing ever got in the way that jeopardized me from doing that. But also, I think after all the concussions I did receive, I had like 7 serious concussions.
Wow.
I know for basketball too. I had 3 herniated discs in the neck, 1 in the back.
Was it made like elbows and stuff?
Elbows, bad falls.
That floor is hard, man.
I got a video of playing in Ukraine, and I got into a fight with him the play before, and then he takes my legs out on a 2-on-1 fast break, and I fall on my head and neck there. And again, what are you doing at that moment? You're already on 5 different painkillers and anti-seizure medicine that the doctor is giving you. So you're playing on all these things. And I remember...
And you're trying to still perform.
So I was still performing. I was crushing it.
Still monster.
We went to... we were in Krakow for a tournament after that in Poland. And I remember even after that fall, my coach came over to me at the time. He goes, hey, we had this inside joke about, because we had this whole like traveling basketball church thing with us too. And they were like spinning basketballs on spoons and stuff. So a lady would like spin a basketball spoon on a spoon and eat chocolate pudding out of it. It was actually pretty sick. He comes over to me. I was like, when I did this fall, I was like, you hear the inner self talk. Like, all right, Brandon, you're done. We aren't getting up from this one. Like, that's it. This one, it was a bad fall. I have the video. I'll show you too. And coach comes over. One of my favorite coaches, Coach Cates, shout out. He goes, Brandon, listen, I'll give you another Valium and a pudding pack if you get up and keep playing. As a joke to me. No, not a negative thing, but like, it's like I was laughing in the moment when something that, that injury happens, but like to keep you going. It's like, this guy's good. I'm going to get up.
This guy's good.
Play the rest of the game. And then I remember I won all tournament. Like, it's like second below MVP. It's like the first team of the tournament, but I don't even remember most of the games and the playing. I think girlfriend I was speaking to at the time, I was talking to her on Skype. I was like drooling, I think, on the phone. Like, wow. And it just like, it's kind of good that the opioid crisis is coming to the light because, I mean,
it's horrendous.
Everyone knows somebody who's been affected by this. And I was playing basketball on these things at a high level, doing 30 points a game. So it's just 30
like 30 points a game
in that tournament. But it's like,
yeah, he can hoop, man. He can hoop for sure.
It's like, what was it worth? It's like, how far do you want to chase this dream? And like, what is that dream to you? And it wasn't until like, I'd say I went to go coach and I ruptured my kidney. I was supposed to play on the first TBT team for Syracuse.
Okay. Yeah.
Way back in 2015. You know the basketball tournament's going on?
Is that the one with
it's a cash thing. It's like former players or guys still playing pro, different places. Yeah. So I was recruited to play on the first Syracuse team. They're in the finals tonight.
Army. Yeah, they're the top team.
They're in the finals tonight. It's $1 million cash prize. First place.
You were supposed to be there.
No, this was back in 2015, the first year.
But I'm saying you were supposed to be there, or you were there.
I was gonna play after that. This was going to be my comeback, my last thing. Let's get $1 million summer. Let's make this money. And I ruptured my kidney in a game in Kuwait. And like so after that, because I was born with a kidney disorder too. I was never supposed to play sports. But I
like F it.
I know I never got any infections. My parents just followed it closely and got to play professional sports because I was never supposed to. If I got hit, it would rupture. And it was finally 25 years I got hit in the right spot.
Fuck, man.
Ruptured on the site there. So after that was like, I got to step away from playing too competitively. Yeah. But I had surgery on it. And
so, I'm with the opioid epidemic, being as bad as it is. And I think more light being shined on, especially everything that's going on, in the world today on big pharma and everything that's going, on in the United States here. There has been a big shift towards, more natural plant-based medicines, whether it be, ayahuasca, mushrooms, LSD, MDMA. They're doing a lot of, research on MDMA. Like, what made you start to really see that, okay, maybe using mushrooms for a more therapeutic standpoint, right, is something that I should look into, and how were those experiences for you early on to realize like, you know, I have to pick my spots when I do this instead of, you know, for lack of a better term, like get wasted all the time?
Well, that's the first intentional thing you do it for. It's just like the party. Let me get high. Let me do this. But, you know, luckily I was able to figure out it was more of a, as much as these things are good for the things that I've had, whether it's the trauma from the injuries, the trauma, you know, rupture kidney traumas from life, that, you know, you use these things to self-medicate and to not abuse, or some of them to abuse or numb what you're actually doing. It's just typical coping mechanism. Okay, these things help me not feel the things I want to feel. Because, you know, they make you go fast. They make you
For sure.
able to see something. And if you don't get to do it in a therapeutic atmosphere, you know, it's the unfortunate thing about raves, that it's just, hey, most of these kids are doing a MDMA or other amphetamines that are being laced with this stuff. And it's probably not the most therapeutic environment to do those things in. But it's also a lot of people's first introduction to doing these things. And it's unfortunate that it is, because it could be better. But it's not a terrible thing. But I don't think, you know, again, the honesty in society of people saying that your brain's not developed till 25. We don't want you doing these things in a, you know, on your own environment. It's very tough to handle and manage because of what it can shake up, even with mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Someone who has, I think, I don't know if it's a gene for schizophrenia, but doing something that high intensity on a self-reflection level can lead to your onsets if you have that gene to trigger you in that direction. So again,
they're seeing that in marijuana use too now a lot.
Really?
You know, with you know, the popularity of smoking weed. You know, they're starting to see the cases of, you know, people being diagnosed with schizophrenia start to skyrocket.
Really?
But I mean, that'd be tough to directly correlate.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. You
That's
know,
going to be a heavy
correlation
experiment.
doesn't necessarily mean causation for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, once you do these things and you want to level up because of, you know, again, it comes down to that point where what has society also lied to me to? My mom and dad not told me the truth on that I can see and do things, and then also have different profound experiences of growth as an individual, and then doing them with the, again, cool group of community of people and friends you do them with. So, luckily I had that. I think that there is a lot more. Rick Doblin from MAPS, multiple, I'm going to try and say his whole thing. I'm not going to do it, but he does a lot of, like, 35 years of psychoactive substance research, some of it funded by the government, other big institutions. So he's done it. He's got a lot of this stuff to the light, especially, for example, with traumatic brain injury for soldiers, doing a lot of work there, because MDMA allows you, especially doing it in a clinical session with a therapist who knows what they're doing, it allows you to break down those veils of self-reflection like that. Wow. So you can get to the root of that trauma you want to have, talk to that, have that conversation with somebody who can help you work through those things in your past, or what has happened, or how to cope with and deal with and move on from it. So
I guess, like, basically the point of this, like, if you're doing it in the right setting with the right people, that's when you want to do it.
Yeah, yes and no. I think there is a great form of self-experimentation that people get to do and get to grow on their own scale and basis, and I'm not advising people to do that.
So when should you, like, absolutely not do it? Like, when should, like, don't do it when this is happening in your life?
That's tough to say, because I think it's like someone like Hunter Thompson would say, you know, you don't need to go out and find the drug, or the plant will say, you know, let it find you. And that's hard to say, and it's tough to explain that thing, because it's a very open-ended saying, but, like, it was like that with ayahuasca. I went all the way down to Peru to do it. And it was after I ruptured the kidney. And it's like, when there's so much intention going when you go off and diet a certain way, journal for 6 months about what you want to do and experience to really have this. And, like, again, it comes back to all that stuff with the intention. Like, that trip and experience was so profound and different. I'm not looking to go do ayahuasca soon or in the future, because it's that big of an experience. Yeah. And that's moving of a scenario that, you know, I don't need to go and tell anybody, go do it. It's like, hey, this is something you got to go research, take the time to go figure out if you want to do, and then also spend the money. You know, people think, like, oh, some guy's doing it for like $10. It's like,
yeah, no, so stay away from that. Stay away from that.
Don't get discounts when it comes to somebody giving you an insight, you know, to yourself or the universe or the world that you just, it's not just going to get down a street corner.
I'll tell you from my experience, like, you know, when I had done, you know, ayahuasca.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was really interesting, because it was more of like, and I've you know, like I think a year or two before, like people were like, oh, do it, try it. Like, yeah, you should. But I never felt good. Just feeling like the way they were telling me, like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't feeling good about doing it. But then it was just like, when I did do it, it was like everything for like a few months was just like aligning. Like I was just getting signs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it felt natural.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like a pulling in. And then it was just like, all right, I want to do it. You know, but it's like, I want to do it not because I want to escape from something or because I just want to like, you know, leave the current place and because I'm feeling terrible. You know what I mean? It was more like, oh, I want to do it because I just want to see what this experience can be for me.
And that okay,
like,
right
I want to
there?
just learn.
That's it. That's
I want to
perfect.
learn. I want to learn.
Yeah.
You know,
like, there's nothing more that has to be or even what's the word? Pontificating on or like growing up. Like, that's good. And that's okay to be like, that's perfect, you know?
Yeah, and I think
have you done it?
no, not ayahuasca,
Oh, okay.
mushrooms, LSD a bunch of times.
Josh has done everything. That's the one thing I got over Josh.
I know.
The one thing, the little one thing when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I was, you know, especially my first couple of years here was definitely more on that amphetamine side, but you know, learned that pretty quick that wasn't necessarily the route that I wanted to head down.
Nah,
you know, it's a slippery slope. You know, it's a slippery slope, and again, it goes back to like, you know, asking yourself, like I had to ask myself the hard question of like, okay, what do I really want in life? Do I want to be the person that, you know, just is like a you know, a normal trainer on South Beach and, you know, spends all of his time, you know, working in order to then go and party and do all that, you know, and pretend to have the lifestyle that I didn't really give a shit about? Or am I going to make that shift for myself, focus on my, you know, investing in my education, my business, so that I can grow and help people the way I want to help people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's difficult to have those questions answered, right? Or have to answer them yourself. And I feel like that's where, you know, some of these plant medicines can come in. Like you said, it'll kind of remove that veil of, you know, feeling insecure about, you know, what that answer really might be for you, you know, and are you okay with where you're at, you know, and where your life is, or, you know, the traumas or the things that have happened in your past that, you know, might lead you to a specific future that you might not want to go down. Right. And then how do we pivot from there?
Exactly. And, you know, it comes down to how we label, because dudes, we're told that we have to be a certain way, have to be certain masculine forms, and this is how you have to be. And it, you know, we're just all image that we're chasing to try and be that isn't real. Yeah. And it's, you know, hey, go to therapy, be vulnerable, you know.
And in some cultures, you see that more than others. You know, especially in the men role, you know, like
here in America,
I know, especially like, yeah, and, you know, even in the Hispanic role, like Hispanics are very like, you know, no, but you're the man, you know, and the men don't cry and this and this, you know, like you see that a lot, you know, and especially, no, el hombre, you know, that's what they say, no, tú eres el hombre, you know, el hombre de la casa, the man of the house, listen, you know what I mean? So it's easy, you know, it's easy for a lot of people to like, you know, get lost or, you know, feel like things are one way because that's what they've always learned. And, you know, don't get me wrong. Are there certain things that, hey, as men, you know, we're men and, you know, we put our, you know, we have that, our self stamp and, you know, we're men at the end of the day for certain, but at the same time, there's a lot of like, how do I say it? There's a lot of misinterpretation of how men have always been carried out to be and have to be every single day at the same time.
Nothing is consistent or going to be the way it always will be. Yeah. You know, and if we want to move as fast as technology and the world is around us, we got to start, you know, evolving as humans, you know, as much as we can, which is, you know, taking on new roles, doing new things and adapting. Because if, you know, everybody wants to be, you know, conserve the past and conserve how things were, but it's like, that's just not how biology works. And that's not how the rest of the universe works. It doesn't fucking care.
No, it doesn't. You got to adapt on the fly and adapt quick or you're going to get left behind, you know? And for most of human history, I mean, I feel like nowadays us as humans, we're so far removed from all of the, you know, innate human experiences that we had for so long about, you know, true stress, right? Like what is true stress? Like not being able to eat, right? Not having a place to live, like not, you know, not knowing if tomorrow's going to be your last day or not, you know? And now that we have all of the security, we start to see these artificial stresses come up of like, you know, oh, somebody didn't text me back, you know, right now. We're all old enough to understand what it was like to not have a cell phone, right? Or
we didn't have Tinder in college. We didn't have all these other things.
No.
Like I met a girl either in person or it was Facebook with the Facebook poke game. And I was pretty good Facebook poke. I was
Yeah,
really,
yeah, you're the king of that.
I don't know about the king, but I had a good system going with the poke. The poke was
Isn't it a little wave now too? A little.
I
don't know if
the
they
wave
had
on
the
the
wave.
messenger. The poke.
messenger,
This is
that's
before
what it is.
messenger.
Okay.
You had a poke. Is like before you even could like friend them. You could just give them a poke.
That's right.
Like,
That's right. So
hey,
poke.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Worked
You-
like a
you know,
charm.
You know, I mean, my sister's a senior at Syracuse now, or she's going to be a senior this year at Syracuse. And, you know, it always blows her mind when I tell her, like, listen, like, we never used to text people because texting used to cost, you know, half a minute. She's like, what is a minute? I'm like, you know, she's born in 2000. Like,
Strictly data.
Unlimited to have unlimited was like a new thing. It was like, no, you gotta pay a
yeah,
top
you must
premium
be,
for
yeah,
unlimited.
you must be wealthy if you can
Yeah.
afford unlimited messaging.
Yeah.
Before I had this, like I think I got one because I used to have this little Verizon flip, and I was a big texter, so I paid for
Are you talking about the
unlimited
Razor?
texting.
Oh no, I used to love the Razor.
There was a Verizon had a little flip one. It also folded over to talk like this. Like I think we're talking about Stone Age technology. And then I that one broke, and I got the iPhone in like 2012, and it was like, oh man, this is good. This
Yeah.
is good. I love it. I love it. And been on that iPhone.
The one
thing
phone
since.
I always wanted, which I never got, was a Sidekick.
Never had it.
Nah,
I never had it, but yeah, it would have been a.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just this one was simple. I was
just wanted to like, dude, just flip that thing. I was just like, click. That's all I wanted to do, just flip.
I was
it.
like afraid of having internet access. Like, I don't need this stuff. I just want to keep
Yeah.
it simple. Let me just text somebody if I need them. I'm still a phone call guy.
Me too.
Like,
I'm
if
the
someone-
same
I need to do
way.
something like, hey, let's talk on the phone.
Josh is a FaceTime guy.
yeah, I'm a big FaceTime
He's a
guy.
FaceTime guy.
Nothing
I'm
wrong
a big
with that.
FaceTime. Listen, I want to see your face. You know what I mean? I want to be able to look. I mean, even though it's through a phone, like, but like, I want to
Josh
be able
is
to
like, bro, I
look
don't
you
care if
in
you're
the
taking a
eyes.
shit, just FaceTime.
I don't care. Just FaceTime me. Like, if you're gonna talk to me on the phone, I might as well. Like, I already know what you're doing, so let me just see your
Yes.
face anyway. Like, I can tell when you're taking these awkward long pauses. You know. But I mean, do you ever wish that we could just go back? You know, we could just go back to not, you know, not being so reliant on, you know, big tech and you know, these big, you know, digital companies or you know, big social media companies, big platforms like Apple. And
Well, I mean, we don't need these big companies. I mean, these big companies have just been able to monopolize the industry and the game. And I mean, kudos to them. They figured out that, you know, what was it? You say with Mark Zuckerberg figured out that data was going to be worth something. It's like oil, you know, 200 years
They saw
ago.
ahead. They saw ahead.
Yeah, how are we going to build something that's going to be able to market a product to sell this oil and put it inside something and do all these things? These people had to really innovate and create these industries and stuff that exist. So kudos to them. But the cat's out of the bag. You know, your data is just being harvested.
Yeah.
All these companies are collecting it and they're selling it to all these other people. Now, again, you don't need to use these apps, and I don't even think you need them to market and create these things. Certain ones with Google and Facebook, yes, if you want to create ads to do stuff, but it's also the most toxic thing ever. I create social ads for companies. I know.
once you know the back end of that, you're like, fuck, this is brutal.
Yeah, you know, the sausage is made.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's hard to
once-
sleep at night, but you're like, oh, that's
Once you've
my
been to the
ad right
hot
there.
dog factory, it's like it's difficult to eat a hot dog again.
So, you know, I mean, again, humans can definitely do that. And I'm working on a cool project right now doing that for athletes and getting athletes paid, you know, especially with the new laws for name, image, and likeness coming out. Shout out to 2K Paid. That's the name of the company.
Love it.
It's what I'm down here to work and do for the just the social media stuff for the company and generate and create content for it on a daily and monthly basis. But, you know, again, I think South Park does such a good job of like bashing the NCAA. There's a scene with Eric Cartman. He goes into the University of Colorado. He starts talking like, I'm a slave owner. Like, oh, I'll buy 2 black ones and 2 white ones. Like, what are you talking about? These are student athletes. It's like, oh, student athlete. That's good. That's good. Okay, so how do I get around paying them for the name, image, and likeness? Get out. This is a prestigious institution. It's like, again, it's generated words and language to say, oh, they're amateurs. What the fuck is amateurism? And why does that mean we can't pay them for who they are and what they do? So I'm really excited to do this stuff because our whole basis is going to be these kids aren't going to make any money. We're not going to make money off them. We're just taking money off the transaction fee. 100% would go towards them. But then it's also like creating a new ecosystem because, you know, how many fucking entrepreneurs do we need to make and create? How many people do we need to make selling stuff or a product that, you know, is kind of destroying the environment and the world right now? So what can we do to create and have these kids generate value and substance? And, you know, as much as I prefer socialism and think we need a lot more socialism in terms of like how we treat people and help people who need a lot more help or stuff in our country, is how can we redefine how these kids need to make money, because we do live in a capitalist society and you got to make money to pay and work in the economy and live in the economy that we have. So I'm excited to be doing stuff like that. I'm excited to be, mapping out the content on that side. And yeah, the sky's the limit for these guys. So,
and where do you see the future of, college athletics going when it comes to kids finally being able to make money off their likenesses with the new NIL rules?
Yeah. I mean, again, same with big tech and same with this. People all claim to be uber capitalist, and I'm a good entrepreneur. I love capitalism, but it's like we have the most authoritarian capitalism that's going on right now, where only X amount of companies and X amount of institutions get to define and generate what is what. So if anything, we have a very, like, I don't know if you say a communistic form of our capitalist system where, the plutocracy that only a certain amount of people with certain back last names get to control things. So if you want to be a capitalist and you want to claim that we're such a free society, blah, blah, blah.
Open it up.
Bullshit. Like, allow and generate the availability for people to do things. That's one of the cool things about blockchain. But unfortunately, it's the thing I have against blockchain, where 1% of people still own X amount of certain coins, where they can generate, pump and dump so many of these prices on certain things.
Thanks, Elon.
Right there. Yeah. So it's like, our people's fascination and like foot sucking of Elon Musk is just insane. It's like, he doesn't do anything. He's just a venture capitalist who buys different companies and always buys the engineers or the people who develop the products and then claims it's his own. It's like, guys, he isn't actually
He's not building the cars for Tesla.
He's not building the car. He's buying.
He's hiring the best engineers and the best car manufacturers and telling them, like, listen, we want to put batteries in them instead of using gas. Can you figure out how to do that?
So again, it's like, hey, let's open things up. Let's allow these adults and children, especially, we claim libertarians who are insane, who think that just, we need kids to just start working. They don't need to go to schools. They change the child labor laws. It's like, guys, I don't know about that far. Jesus Christ. But how can we afford these people, these kids, humans, the opportunity? It's like the same thing with parenting. Like, you wouldn't talk to or yell at an adult the way you yell at a kid, or sometimes people hit their kids. You wouldn't do that to an adult. You don't get the right to do that to a child. Mm-hmm. They're still people. So let's allow the opportunity. Let's allow the ecosystem. But yeah, unfortunately, our political system's broken because these companies are claimed to be individuals, but they also have insane amount of money. I think the report came out with Google that they have so much cash, and Apple and Amazon as well, that they can't even put this money in the bank, and the bank won't even pay them interest on this money. But, what do we have? 60 or 70% of our country doesn't have $400 in their bank account for an emergency. It's like, how much more wealth disparity do we need when, giving people cash, is actually stimulates and helps things.
Right. And also, doing things in the sake of innovating all the time. It's like, I read some article the other day about how Bill Gates is the largest,
the worst person in the world.
Yeah, Dr. Evil himself. Him and Bezos. But he's the largest farm owner.
No, was it yesterday? They finalized the divorce, him and his wife.
Yeah, well, good for her.
Bill on the
she
market.
secured that bag. Yeah,
we'll see Bill at space soon.
That'd be hilarious.
I would love that.
But he's the largest farm owner, and now he's pushing his own ideology on these farmers, and he's setting the market cap for what types of crops people should produce and how they should be able to produce them, and we should use this farm equipment. It's like, but again, what is the cause and effect of things, right? Okay, so we start using all this technology, but now we're less connected with the earth, and now we really don't know how to farm without this technology. But the technology only pushes us towards these monocrop cultures, and he's leveraging it.
Leveraging that to say, and again, then it comes down to where it's not innovation. It's somebody just, upselling you on each product down the line to make you more money. So it's like, it's not really capitalism with them. We live in a multi-level marketing system where it's just like everybody's looking for the upsell. Like, you just got to buy this extra thing for $14.99. Did you check out yet? No, go to your cart right here. And I mean, because I know all the ad stuff, it's like all that stuff does exist. Like, this person went to the checkout cart, but they didn't sign everything out yet. It's like,
Russell Brunson, right? With ClickFunnels.
Upsell, downsells.
Yep.
I mean, and it's like, is that what we want our society to be? Is it just everybody just creating their own Shopify store to sell some product that already exists, to keep lowering margins and giving jobs away from Americans to go get a virtual assistant in the Philippines, to pay them $5 an hour instead of somebody here, just even 15, even though 15 is not enough. It's like, guys, the topsoil is almost gone.
So where do we go from here with, you know, with everything kind of being as fucked as it is? Where would you like to see things go?
I mean, as fucked as it is, it's, you know, I'm not going to Steven Pinker and say, well, everything's okay and everything's as good as it has ever been. You know, people forget that the idea of democracy in politics is that they have to play a role with inside of it. Doesn't mean you have to be a politician. Doesn't mean you have to do these things. But, you know, our level of capitalism we're at has just told us, like, but no, you got to go to this job for 40 hours a week, but you don't actually do 40 hours of work. You're just there for 40 hours, and we have your time. So hire this politician who's done to do this as a professional job. So if people can take more part in what's happening and what's going on, I think that's great. You know, whether your politics are Democrat, Republican, which is a whole mess and thing we'll go into, people taking more part in stuff is good. They're understanding where things are going, why things are happening. And I think that's the biggest play, because that's what they did in ancient Greece. You actually had to, you know, not military service, but you had to go do your part within the government. You had to go do your part within this service here. Take a break from your job to go do this, to get paid to do this government job. Because again, unless people know how to do it and why to do it, it's not like we're worried about, you know, not enough engineers or not enough mathematicians or people doing certain jobs. We need more people taking part in the system. So if we're going to spend a little money on taxes for people doing government jobs that are going to learn and maybe even do this as a career to understand how and why it happens, I don't see a problem with that. I think we need to spend more money on people, on infrastructure, and, you know, repairing things. Because you look at other countries and the rest of the world, like, you know, the oil and gas industry has such a stranglehold over us not having trains or just good public transportation. Like, everybody's got to buy a car and everybody's got to have a car, and it's like, we're almost at that point. Like, even like you talk about the topsoil, like, you know, I think to say we have like 60 levels of soil left where it's just, there isn't that additional level of a harvest to have. And we don't have the proper farming practices for that. So, you know, we find a way to innovate our way out of everything. I think we're too late on climate change, and we're going to have to just do innovating skills, because we've decided that, yeah, we're cool with this. Fuck the icebergs, fuck the ocean. I mean, so yeah, again, it's just going to come down to how much money you have and what you can do with that. But hey, move to Iceland. And this guy's been.
Yeah.
Water right comes down from the glacier. You can just put your.
Hey, that's why I moved to Puerto Rico, right? I can just go right to the river
PR,
system and do it myself.
Go to the stream, scoop your water out. Your water for the
blue. What was it? The blue zones.
Yeah, but you know, and I think at the end of the day, right? Like, it really comes down to, like, you know, if more people found out what was actually sustainable for them, you know, we'd be able to have greater conversations about what's sustainable for everybody.
Yeah, well,
right?
I think it's tough. 30 million people. I mean, the fact that we do what we do and still move in an upward trend from the amount of money we can make, the amount of people we can have read, and the amount of people we can, you know, jail and have people privatize and make money off that. Like, that was a bad joke. But unfortunately, privatized prisons, terrible.
That's brutal.
But we're still moving in an upward trend of the amount of stuff we can do. But again, we got to come down to what does that mean for a society? Is it just having a 7% positive GDP for the country itself? Because how does that affect you, me, I, on a smaller basis, and the average person?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, right now, you know, you're just seeing too much of two extremes on both ends. You know, like, if there was more of a centered way to bring people together in the middle, I think it also helps.
Well, they do that so that we all just fight against each other. And
No, I think far right conservatism is just way worse than, you know, crazy we call them tankies. We're just like, we have a full revolution and go full communism. They're not ever going to put anything together and do that. Everyone hates them. So, you know, January 6th thing was bad. You know, I mean, I'm a history major. I love history, and it's like, guys, we can't be doing that on a global level.
No,
you know, reflection of the rest of the world. You guys are running this down. But again, it shows people that the lack of communication from this uber wealthy elite, that they can't relate to people on whatever scale. And again, most of those people weren't lower income people. There are people with small businesses taking private jets out there. You know, and you know, is it having a form of moderation, or is it just like, hey guys, we're not waiting for it anymore. We're going to start, you know, raising taxes on corporations and other people because we need to start investing. Because I think Joe Rogan, as much as I think he's gone way too far down the far right, has the great quote of just like, we need to get X amount of people from the bottom of society up to that middle level. You know, especially when we know, like, hey,
We have no middle class anymore.
if we can invest in, what is it, like $100 billion or something in the homelessness problem just in America, we could fix that problem in terms of whether that be getting people into homes. There's more empty homes in America than homeless people, which is like,
It's absurd to think about.
it's insane.
You know, it's
Just
absurd.
to make people money.
And that's a whole other issue right there. That's tricky to play with.
And again, LA where I live it's the hardest problem because it's like, okay, well, we're going to give you a home, but you have to follow X rules. Well, it's like, I'm not under arrest. I want to still do and go wherever I want to. Like, why can't I have my home and do this stuff too? Because yeah, that's one of the main issues with the homelessness problem out there. But also, again, you have a whole generation, whether these people fall into a certain age group or demographic, they can't exist in this capitalist society where say, you got to go have a job, you got to make X amount of money. Like, they don't do those things. So do you want them on the street, or do you want to spend X amount of money to make sure, you know, again, we don't do a good job of rehabilitation in this country, whether it's with drugs or the prison system, like
mental health.
Like, you go to prison, like, it's like the worst experience of your life. You're going to, as a man, you're probably going to be raped. You're probably going to be, extorted for money from different gangs and everything in there, and you're with the cops too, and you're still being extorted. So it's like, why do we?
So
why don't we put people back in the country better than they're going in?
So what do you think about like the people where they're going through some of these things, having those mental issues, struggling with certain these things, and then how do I say kind of separate and see like those who are choosing to be in there or choosing to be in that position versus those people who actually need help to get out of there because they're actually going through something.
I mean, prison's like the low of the low, and you know, I don't care what someone has done, and I just had something happened with a family member, and with murder is someone you know, and it's like there still needs to be some kind of rehabilitation for someone to go to that action's been done. You know, what past it happened, and it hurts and it's terrible, but you know, how do we rehabilitate the person? Do we want them back in society, or you know, a lot of people still believe in the death penalty? It's like, you just want to kill this person, which is going to cost more money with lawyers, with the government system. So it's like, you have to find a better way to really rehabilitate people, especially you want them to exist in society. Well, you want them to eventually get a job, wherever that's going to be, and they're going to make enough money to even live. So, but in terms of like regular people who want to connect and they want to grow with people, everything starts with your simple first step. And leap could be is asking someone a question. You message them on Instagram, you message them via email, and you guys have done this really well, where it's just people you wouldn't have conversations with before. But if you're not willing to ask somebody and be vulnerable in that step to learn something or ask them, you're never going to know. So your first thing you need to do is just take that leap and just ask someone a question. Asking your girlfriend or boyfriend out on a date, whatever it is, like simple things like that, you won't know. And the good news is you're going to fail, and we all failed. And you're going to drop the ball so many times, but that's just how you learn. If you're not willing to put yourself back to that state, and I'm learning that right now myself, of just doing that again with just content and just going out there and just doing it, you're not going to learn, and you're just going to be sheltered and in there, and you're going to limit your growth. So,
I mean, it all starts with these conversations, right? Which is why, you know, we feel blessed to be able to have people like yourself and so many of our other podcast guests in here to you know, not only share their expertise and their insights with our audience, but for ourselves too, you know, and you know, we really value conversations like this, man. I think it's a great way to wrap this up.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Where can people find you? How can they reach out to you?
Instagram is probably best. Brandon Reese 24, bus driver experience. Taking a little bit of sabbatical from producing and launching shows, but probably launched over, you know, 1,000 podcast shows, was producing about 15, 20 shows the past few years. It's been such a cool thing. So if you are looking to start a show, you need help starting a show,
That's your guy. Yeah.
I offer a service for that. And also just willing to get people going and connecting out in the world. And then there's my YouTube channel where if I do make my music videos and any other creative stuff, it would all be, or other shows I haven't produced in a while would be on that page. It's Bus Driver Experience on YouTube, and I keep it simple. No additional things. You got 2 places to find me, connect with me. But yeah, any questions you guys have or things you want to grow with? Oh, also,
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
pass that out.
I was about to say it, but you brought it up.
Check out the other project. These guys supported it. They got a hoop bus here. Really cool way to evangelize the game of basketball that I got to help found and build the original bus. We have 2 buses now, so it's been such a cool thing to be a basketball bus driver and then people needing a basketball bus. So
Love it, man.
you got to love the way you can connect with people, and there is something and a place for you in the world and the internet. So
Appreciate you coming on here, brother, and sharing that.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you
Till
guys for
next time,
coming.
guys. Peace out.
Sweat it out.